We turn our attentions to the defensive side of the ball on the Volquest positional previews. We start with the defensive line. And not only is it Rodney Garner calling the shots for everything, now you got Coach Chop in there as the Leos coach who will dictate what Leos are in the game this year.
Yeah, and obviously those two have worked together through the years and have been a part of things. And Coach Chop now running his own room, and he's got that group that he will have individual stuff, and then they'll all come together, obviously, for 11 on 11. But I think that there's plenty of harmony there. I think because they know each other, there's nothing new jumping in there. The thing about this group that stands out to me when I was looking at some stuff over the last few weeks, there's just no rebuild with this group.
There's enough depth there.
Yeah, because they play so many guys that it doesn't feel like there's this, we lost all this because there's somebody waiting in the wings. And that's because they played Jackson Moy a bunch last year. They played Dalvin Hobbs a bunch last year. Obviously, you're bringing Eason back in the interior. And then you're trying to bring along the Utleys and the Isaiah Campbells, and you bring in the transfer David Schnell. So all of a sudden you feel like they're 5 or 6 deep again at defensive tackle, which is what Rodney Garner's always trying to do.
Well, that was one of the things that they asked me about on Birmingham radio back in the month of July was, like, what kind of step back do you see? Because last year I felt like there was like 4 and 5 waves of defensive linemen. I'm like, maybe a fraction, but it's not like it's a huge drop off. And I mean, like Rodney a year ago in like early in the season was talking to me about like, hey, I think I can get Eason to come back. And I'm like, if he has a good year, you're insane. But who was insane? It was me for thinking that. They get him to come back. He is the leader in that room. Maybe not talkative leader, but he is definitely the guy that I think the younger guys look to from a work standpoint. He's really improved himself. Jackson Moy looks tremendous. He has dropped all the baby fat. And, I mean, he has one big muscle.
Yeah, and I think he's got leadership skills, too.
He does.
I think both those two guys, in their own ways, are kind of co-leaders, co-alphas in that room. And that's great because it can elevate the Hobbses of the world, and it can elevate
Dominic Bailey. That's Eason's best friend.
Right, Dominic Bailey. And all the ends. We even talked about the strong siders that are in that room as well.
Weathersby.
So you've got good leadership there. You've got a number of bodies there. I'm fascinated to see where Ethan Utley is. How much does he get into the rotation? Because there's a lot of love for him going right now. Does he carry that into fall camp? And then when you talk about defensive ends, Dominic Bailey, then it gets really fascinating to me because you have a lot of bodies that you like. How does that sort itself out? Where's Tyree West? Where's Weathersby, as you mentioned? What is that group? What is Barry? I mean, we haven't seen Dye.
Yeah, he was out in spring.
What does he look like? Kind of what does that group look like? When you go rabbits, do you bring 2 Leos over? You've got a lot of different things, a lot of different combinations you can play with on that defensive front.
You do. And, of course, the Grand Valley State kid, David Smell, that's going to be interesting to kind of see kind of where he's at. How does he factor? I mean, how quickly does he transition to the SEC?
Right. And, I mean Bailey could slide inside in a rabbits package if you wanted to. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility with that group. Some guys have to go prove themselves. This is the big fall camp for Weathersby, in my opinion.
It is because he was getting so much love before he hurt the hip 2 years ago. Last year, kind of got buried behind that really deep defensive line. Not as deep. He's one of the guys. So, where do you factor?
Yeah, he's interesting. And then when you look at the Leos, they've got to get to the quarterback better. And James Pierce had a solid year. He did, but not the year everybody thought he had.
Correct.
Joshua Joseph has talked about, I've got to finish better. He does. They've got to finish at the quarterback better at the Leo position. How much of a step does Joseph take? He said all the right things. I think he's as driven as he's ever been, as focused as he's ever been. Where's Caleb Herring? He's got the weight. All the physical tools are there now. Can he put it all together? What does Jordan Ross look like? Where are they at the Leo position? It's going to be interesting to me.
I will say this. We talk about, when we're talking about the offensive side of the ball, we're talking about, Ethan Davis being young. Caleb Herring is 3rd year in the program. He's just 20.
I know.
I mean, he's a young player, young kid. So, like, how much can he really take step? He's always had these weird, freakish deals, like a toe, like a tendon, and he had to have this weird surgery. And he's always having these weird surgeries. It's not like, like shoulder, right? Like, or knee. It's like these weird ones. Like, he's back healthy after getting that final weird surgery done at midway through part of spring. Where is he at? And then Jordan Ross, to me, is the greatest X factor of them all because I think there's as much upside there as anywhere. but how does it translate?
Well, and we didn't see him in spring. He wasn't 100% healthy in spring. So this is a group that I think Rodney Garner's got a lot of depth to play with. There's some unknown. There's some talent. How does that talent emerge itself now? Much like we've talked about with those young receivers, you're going to play. Caleb Herring, a year ago, Caleb Herring was like, I'm the third Leo. I'm behind James Spears and I'm behind Joshua Joseph. Okay, I'm going to get some crumbs.
Yeah.
That's not who you are now. That's not who you are, Jordan Ross. The opportunities are really there now. How much do they go get it? How driven is this group to go get it? I think that'll be fun to watch.
Tennessee's defense, I think, has got a chance to be, call me crazy, better than it was a year ago, because I think they're better on the middle and back end of the defense. My opinion, of course. Defensive line, if they can be some semblance of what they were a year ago, that's where this defense really takes off and starts cooking with grease. Let's look at the defensive line. He's Brent Hubbs. I'm Austin Price.